online. So what is the sanctity of the classroom? Probably the sanctity of the classroom is not at all diminishing. Probably the sanctity of the classroom is increasing, more and more increasing. Probably the profile of the classroom has to be ultimately changed. That is, profile of the classroom has to be transformed in a very, very significant way. That is where the teachers are going to have a great role. And there was also some sort of a doubt at several stages of higher education enhancement that the role of the teachers in the education is going to be diminished. That is also not going to happen. The role of the teachers are going to be more and more increased, and the role of the teachers has to be maximum emphasized in higher education. So what I wanted to say with these points is, with the digital transformation, with the online technologies, with all these things, we should not think that the technology will overtake the classroom, technology will overtake the teachers. Technology cannot teach, only teachers can teach. But teachers have to be equipped with the appropriate technology. Teachers have to be conversant with appropriate technology. I should know, as a chemistry classroom teacher, I should know how chemistry, the digital tools can be very effectively used for my teaching in the classroom. So only when we combine the appropriate technology, digital technology, with the appropriate teaching practices, things will happen. Positive things will happen in the classroom. Even now, I know that large number of very eminent teachers in the country, they make use of chalk and talk, nothing else, chalk and talk, for teaching theoretical sciences, theoretical physics, mathematics, chemistry, and several other things. But of course, the chalk and talk can be something else. But the human intervention, the humanistic teacher intervention in the classroom is very important. And therefore, probably one challenge which is in the national education policy mentioned is that digital classrooms are going to happen, but please do not substitute any digital teachers with any digital object. That is one thing which I want to really emphasize. That we have been seeing it. For example, when the internet came, when the ICT came, we all thought that. Similarly, when the computers, all this thing came, we thought print media will be disappearing. As the print media disappeared, now print media is even now much more stronger with technology. Probably they are making use of technology in a maximum way, and therefore this is one point which I wanted to suggest. So it is also suggesting online. For example, here I was studying the Indira Gandhi National Open University for 5 years, and I was also chairman of the Distance Education Council in the country, which is providing online and distance education recognition for colleges and universities in this country. And when 2006-11 period, I'm saying 2006-11, there was not even one online degree in this country, not even one online degree. Even the Indira Gandhi National Open University, when introduced one online degree, there was some sort of a criticism, controversies, and all that. But now I know A++ institutions. I also had what the institutions, A++ institutions. They are giving recognition or permission to award 10,000 online MBAs. For example, I know several management institutes in this country were given not license, given permission to offer up to 10,000 online MBAs. So these are all good things. So maybe work integrated learning is one area which we have to look at in the implementation of the National Education Policy. I am extremely glad that the University Grants Commission is almost every week coming with new regulations for academic bank of credits. I don't want to speak on details, many of these things, because we are taking up these items later also. Academic bank of credits, about 20% of the credits can be earned from different institutions. and it can be from different individuals. So there has to be a mechanism by which effective articulation can be made by the host institution and the other institution from where the credit is taken. This is in force, but articulation, the process of articulation among universities, among institutions are very important, and therefore we should definitely look at the possibilities of bringing up effective articulation for collaboration in sharing of credits. And then when it comes to, it is also recently, we have also got the professor of practice. Universities and institutions can appoint professors of practice, taking people from industry and social sectors, very eminent people. Up to 20% or 30% of the faculties can be from the industry or other social sectors, or who have contributed to knowledge and skills in a very significant way. This also is also an implementable thing. And as a university, I am chairing a university. As a university, we have implemented these things. There are also several institutions which are doing it. And this credit is not just limited to SWAYAM or certain online platforms in India. This credit can be taken from anywhere in the world. That is what is written. Anywhere in the world. So of course, I know students making use of Coursera and other platforms in a significant way to get credit for that. Probably we have to create avenues for the students to avail these possibilities also. And then about 3-year to 4-year degree program. That is the major transformation, major suggestion which has been made. 3-year degree programs to 4-year degree programs. And then this, of course, there is a feeling that where is the infrastructure? That the chairman also, in his inaugural address, he mentioned where is the infrastructure? That's a very, very valid point. And then this is for the 4th year, we have to find out space, classrooms, all these things are necessary, and therefore probably the investment in higher education, investment in collegiate and higher education has to be significantly enhanced. That even though policy has been being advocated in a very significant way, the overall input in higher education is less than 3%. That is very, very important. Probably we have to argue out for that also. Then in the 4-year degree program, there is also a possibility that the degree programs, the 1 year can be for research. For research, in collaboration with social science research institutions, science and technology research institutions, industries, all these things. So it may happen in some of the big cities where industries and large number of institutions are there, but we have to find out how this 1 year of additional 1 year can be meaningfully given to the students for undertaking research in a significant way. That is one thing. And the other major reform which has been suggested is the permission for entry and exit at different levels. After 1 year, getting a certificate. After 2 years, getting a diploma or advanced diploma, and then after 3 years, getting a degree, and after 4 years, getting an honors degree. That is a suggestion. And this thing has been in practice all over the world. For example, if you just look at the community colleges, I'm glad that the St. Francis institutions have technical training institutions like Polytechnic, ITA also. If you just look at world over, there are a system of colleges known as community colleges, particularly in the US. The community colleges, they are giving 2-year associate degree programs. Indira Gandhi National Open University several years started these community colleges with the 2-year associate degree programs. With 16 credits, you get a certificate. With 32 credits, you get a diploma. With 64 credits, you get an advanced diploma. With around 96 to 100 credits, you get a degree. So this is going to be very important. And when we say that this has to be implemented in our colleges and universities, we should also look at clientele in a very different perspective also. For example, there will be a large number of people who are ready to who are in need of education and skill development when they are working. Along with work, how work integrated learning can be provided by institutions. There has to be flexible timing. There has to be probably incorporation of syllabus and curriculum which are relevant to the industry. These are all very important. Therefore, this program of exit at different levels and entry at different levels gives the possibility of implementing work integrated learning. This has to be the purpose. It's not necessary that every student who is joining in the university should go immediate after certificate. If they get something, let them go, and then they have an option to come back after a few years, after 2 or 3 years, again get a diploma and advanced diploma and degree. This is very important. This can be done. This is doable. This is happening also. And then equating at the higher levels of degree, higher levels of educational attainment up to PhD, the credit pattern. This is very important. So this credit transfer, if the credit transfer has to occur, I think there has to be independent one-to-one understanding between institutions of credibility, and several articulation mechanisms are there. And if you just look at the regulations provided by the University Grants Commission or AICT, there is nothing which prevents the autonomous institutions to do so. And therefore, it is for us to, it is for our institution, when I say us, it is for institutions to just look at these possibilities and then venture into such possibilities for providing education. And when it comes to research, there is a lot of emphasis is going to be is given in the research. But even after 2 years, I know that large number of institutions introduced scholarships, full-time scholarships for PhD students. But even now, the students are not really coming for full-time research in a very big way in institutions across the country, barring national institutions of eminence or very prominent institutions. So this has to be considered. And then we have to de-link probably these prescription of qualifications for teachers. This has to be de-linked. This is very important. All these reforms can happen only when we change the procedure of prescribing qualifications, experience for the appointment of teachers. For example, if it has to be multidisciplinary, if it has to be transdisciplinary, I should not insist that a chemistry teacher who is going to be appointed in the university should have an MSc chemistry degree. I should not insist. Probably I have to say that he should be, there are examples all over the world, there are examples. Why should we go to the world? There are examples even in this country where mathematics professors, mathematics teach, those who are trained in mathematics, just mathematics, they have served as excellent professors in chemistry in Indian Institute of Science. And then there are examples of biologists, physicists turning as biologists in this country. There are a large number of examples. Look at the achievements of Dr. Vengi Ramakrishnan, who is a Nobel laureate in chemistry. He was an MSc. He did his BSc from MS University, Baroda. Then in physics, and then he wanted to do MSc biology. He could not get an admission in MSc biology in India because of there is no rule permitting a BSc physics person to go MSc biology. He went abroad and studied life sciences, and then he got MSc and PhD in protein crystallography, and finally he got Nobel Prize in chemistry. So see the type of things which are happening. So there are large, such things are not happening in a systematic way in this country. It is not, it is probably people find it difficult, particularly not well-endowed institutions find it difficult to take risk in such cases. Probably this has to be changed. So if the multi-educational research establishment should come, there should be complete interdisciplinarity and transdisciplinarity happening in teacher engagements also. That is very, very important. Anyway, this 4-year degree program with 1 year for research is a very welcome thing, and maybe in a limited way, our education institutions can jump into it and then try to do something significant. And when it comes to research, it is very important. Quality, of course, enhancing the number of researchers, it's a target. It is very important. But quantity is not the target, it should not be the target, the quality. For example, quality of the research publications, that have to be ensured. Because now, because of the regulations to become an assistant professor, to become an associate professor, to become a professor or similar grades in other institutions, you should have publications. Now, so many publications, 5, 6, or 7, something like that. These publications in standard in some journals and all that, and this has created a real deterioration of quality. Earlier, when we were all doing research in a very young age, even now that phrase is there: publish or perish. That is, you have to publish, or otherwise you will perish yourself. Now what is happening is that there is some sort of a publishing and perishing. People publish in all sorts of nonsense journals, and people start journals and then publish their papers, and then they will see that this paper has no worth of that stationery even, so they perish because they cannot establish themselves as researchers. This is also coming as a big concern. Maybe we have to, when we have accreditations, assessment and all that. I was also heading an institution, National Assessment and Accreditation Council for long. But accreditations, all these things are very important. It is not the physical infrastructure or the building measurements. That is not the ultimate criterion. That should not be the ultimate criterion in assessing the quality of an institution. The quality of the teaching and research which is happening. Maybe there can be a lot of exemptions. The big infrastructure may not be there, but there may be good teachers, very good teachers, and very good teaching and research happening. I have concrete examples of such institutions, particularly in the Northeast. There are several institutions, infrastructure was not very good, but they just looked at what is their target. What is their target? For example, one institution which I had known personally, they said our target is to just give within the next 15 years 1 graduate for every family in that particular, in 7 villages which are surrounded by that particular college. And they in 15 years achieved that, and they were all employed. If that institution may not have much of a physical structure or anything, they went to the parents, they told them the importance of education. They told them, it was in Northeast, they were all first generation learners. So if that institution is not A++, which other institution can be A++? This argument I put forward, I could succeed in that argument also. So it is not the physical infrastructure, it is not the what is the number of computers or these things which ultimately counts. It is the quality of the teaching, the dedication of the management, the dedication of the supporters of the education institution, their institutional plans, and how do they achieve it. The overall purpose of education. So, sorry, I have exceeded my time, but 2 minutes more. The overall purpose of education is for enhancing the quality of life and life management systems. That is all the time highlighted in this. And we are providing knowledge and skills to the learners as teachers in education institutions. And the purpose of the knowledge and skills is to enhance the quality of life. And life is not just livelihood alone. Life in its entirety, life of the universe, everything is there. And if the knowledge and skills which we impart is only the text of education. And if we want this text of knowledge and skills to be applied to the society for enhancing the quality of life, the context of the society has to be understood. The context of the society and the context of the knowledge and skills vary from time to time, place to place. It is very dynamic in nature. That is precisely what we are witnessing. And therefore, this text, unless and until the educated students who is getting education understand the context of the society, the real application of the knowledge and skills may not happen. And therefore, making the students aware of the context of the society, that is the overall purpose, embracing purpose of the national education policy, understanding social sciences, culture, religion, belief systems, all these things are important in applying the knowledge and skills. And that is why it is very important to promote the multidisciplinary nature of higher education. It is important for engineers, it is important for doctors, it is important for management persons, everybody. This is very important. So this text context correlation is very important. Unless and until the educated person knows the context thoroughly, the real application of the text may not happen. And that is precisely we have to emphasize. And let me stop at this stage. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I wish the program all success. I have gone through this program. I may not be able to sit through because I have an Indo-Australian society, some meeting is there. I may not, if there are any quick questions I can take now, but otherwise I will join you around 4:30. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And
thank you so much, sir, for your for delivering such a wonderful session. We will take the question answers now. So participants, we are open for the questions now. Yeah. So we have one question like, how sir we prepare our students for getting ready for national education policy?
Education.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't get you. National.
How are we going to make our students ready for this implementation of national education policy? No, at institutes, we will be getting ready by some reforms and all.
I think students are always ready. Students are always ready. No doubt about it. It is for the teachers to get ready. That is, I sincerely believe. It is for the teachers to get ready. It is for the teacher to say that this is, students are really ready. But for example, I have been teaching for 50 years now, more than 50. So they really welcome. Probably even all these things which you mentioned, the national education policy, there have been institutions doing that without this policy also. There have been institutions in this country. I mean, your institution, for example. So you have all, I mean, all verticals in your management, under your management. So putting these things together, not taking the standalone institution, they tell them that, and once they understand, probably, I will give you one example. But if the student, if an engineering student understands that this with experiential learning, if he or she understands the real application in the society, he or she will jump into it. So the students are always prepared for it. That is my sincere feeling. It is for the teachers to do it. We are all teachers. And if there is something good happening, it is also because of the teachers. And the other thing, I will not say that, but it's very, very important that we should try to understand. So you can just look at even the premier institutions. There are some very good teachers, and they are some standalone individuals. They will ultimately teach, and the things will happen. That's why our institutions are good. I mean, whatever we say, we have several thousands of universities and several thousands of colleges. There are institutions which are standing apart. That is because of the teachers. So I sincerely believe that it is for the teachers and the teachers only to implement whatever is happening in an education institution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Yes, any other questions from the participants? So we have another question, like apart from the challenges, as you indicated, and even in our inaugural speech, we could hear about the infrastructure. What are the other challenges which may come across in the way of an institution when they implement national education policy at their institute's level?
It depends on what policy you are going to implement. For example, if it is going to be completely digital capabilities, digital transformation, you and I mean, premier institutions like in Bombay, some of them, we are all, but there are, if you just look at, I have traveled far and wide in this country with NAC or something like that. There are institutions which do not have the wherewithal, this thing. And then when we say the conversion of all these colleges into universities, I can say that there are 20% of the colleges in this country, I know with maybe one teacher, less than 100 students. So how they will get transformed into university? Therefore, proper mentor-mentee relations. We have to take them. We have to take them into an umbrella. We have to bring them up. It may not be possible for them to just grasp everything, but it is for us to just go to them and handhold them and make them come up. So that is the challenge. There are, maybe even now the institutions are so diverse. There are easily not, I just mentioned 20%, more than that. Institutions may not have that endorsed structures or endorsed teachers and all that. So we have to just look at them and understand until we strengthen those things. I think ultimately we may not be able to succeed as a nation in the national implementation of the national education policy. So as Gandhiji said, we have to just look at the lowest, probably, I will say incapable, not well endowed institution, and then look at what is it that they require. And then if you start from there, I think automatically everything will happen. That's
So we have a question from one of the participants. How mechanism of proper implementation of National Education Policy 2020 not act as a policy?
Not?
Act as a policy.
This was the emphasis of I also wanted to say that, it is, earlier there was not much of a regulations facilitating all these things. Now these things are coming, UGC is also trying to facilitate. They are putting everything into colleges and universities now. Do it. They're not going to give money or anything. That's a different. I'm not blaming them. Money is not there. So there are certain things which we can implement. For example, this certificate, diploma, degree, advanced diploma, degree. These things we can definitely, a college can implement without any problem. And there is no compulsion whatsoever to go out after 1 year. You can also have, if there are somebody is going, you can also take some students, and then you can equate some of the learnings and skills gathered by people who are working in different areas. And these skills and knowledge can be assessed, and then they can be equated with the skills and knowledge which you are imparting in the college, and then they can be given degree. This is also a method of increasing the gross enrollment ratio. So it is not the gross enrollment ratio is very important, but gross success ratio is much more important, and then gross employability ratio is all the more important. It is not enough that we enroll. It is not enough that we have to make them enroll. We have to sustain them. We have to see that they are passing they are succeeding in the course and getting a degree. And then after that, they have to ensure that the degree is relevant. And that's why I mentioned gross enrollment ratio, gross success ratio, and gross employability ratio.
Thank you, sir. So we have another question from the participants. How to involve our students in community-based research What type of training should we provide to our teachers so that they can involve students in community-based research effectively?
I think this we have been doing, no? Have we not been doing it? The teachers who are engaging into community, understand the problems of the community, and make them aware that they are not in an island, the institution or education institution is not an island. They are an institution part of the society. So they should definitely know what is happening, discrimination, what is happening, what is it, cyber security, what are the problems. These things they are aware of it, and then we have been doing it. For example, we have the national service teams in our colleges. So it is in a much bigger way. You understand community engagement. So what is the new education policy now is providing is that this community engagement is also part of the syllabus. So you can give in full credit. Earlier also some institutions used to give credit for such things, but now this is part of the curriculum itself. Maybe, of course, there are several courses which are part of the community, very specifically in community engagement. We have to just look at those programs and probably integrate some of the capsules from them into all courses. A civil engineering student, mechanical engineering student, a management student, what is it that they can involve? So maybe case studies. Of course, you have case studies. So so this has to be as part and parcel of the curriculum. You have to tell them about the problems in the society. They should be aware the current problems in the society, and then they should be mobilized to create. They should have a concern for it. First, you should create a concern for them that this is something happening. This is something happening in these villages, this society, this. And then we should arouse their morality and their preparedness towards that particular subject. This can be done by teachers. Definitely, this can be done by teachers.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from the participants? Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session and making things clear about the topic.
I will send you the brief of my lecture to the organization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
It's there. I will send you so that you can.
A big thank you, sir, on behalf of St. Francis Institute.
It was nice meeting you.
For accepting our invitation, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have posted the feedback link in the chat box. With this, we come to the end of our pre-learn session. We will be meeting for the post-learn session at 1:30 p.m. We have rescheduled the session since our pre-learn session got slightly early. So we will be meeting again, joining the same link again at 1:30 p.m. with our second resource person of the day, who will be talking on the higher education degrees implementation, talking about the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have posted the feedback link again.
Thank you, Jayaraman, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So happy to see Dr. A.P. Jayaraman, sir. Thank you. Recording, sir.